My name is John, and it's my privilege to be one of the pastors of Springs Church. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to show my age now because I was a teenager in the 1970s, and I was and still am absolutely passionate about music. Now, in those days, there wasn't a great deal of listening choice. If you wanted modern music, it was Radio 1 or nothing. And Radio 1 was predominantly populated by pop-tastic DJs like Tony Blackburn or Jimmy Savile. They weren't really cool even in the 70s. But there was one shining exception to that, a DJ called Johnny Walker. He was really cool and he played alternative types of music. I absolutely adored his radio shows. In fact, I'm still a huge fan of his to this day. Now, one of the features on Johnny's show back in the 70s was an item called First Love. The idea was really simple. The listener wrote in, giving details of their first boyfriend or girlfriend, and requested that Johnny play a song that was very special to them. That was it. But it was always accompanied by the First Love theme tune. It was actually a track by the Walker Brothers, which contains the lines, "You were my first love, and first love never dies." Simple pleasures, eh? Tell you what, the long winter nights used to fly by back in the 70s. This First Love feature was on every day, and I used to smuggle a transistor radio into school so at lunchtime I could listen to Johnny Walker and his First Love feature. When I became a Christian, I was fascinated to realise that the Bible has stuff to say about first love. When someone falls in love for the first time, it's really special. I'm sure, hopefully, you've experienced it for yourself, or you've perhaps seen someone else going through it. When I started work with lots of other young people, lots of the people there were regularly kind of falling in love, and they'd come back into the office, and all they'd do was talk enthusiastically about this new guy or girl they'd met the night before. They were passionate about that first love. It's like that when we become Christians. For a while, most new Christians really do have a floating on air type of feeling. There's a really old hymn called Loved with Everlasting Love. It talks about first love like this. It says this: "Heaven above is softer blue, earth around is sweeter green. Something lives in every hue, Christless eyes have never seen." When you first become a Christian, the colours in the world seem more vivid. Everything's wonderful. But the problem is that for many of us, that first love doesn't last that long. Life gets in the way. Things don't go as planned. And that first experience of God's love can begin to diminish. Another old hymn, "Oh, for a Closer Walk with God," talks about it like this. It says, "Where is the blessedness I knew when first I saw the Lord? Where is that soul refreshing view of Jesus and his word?" The hymn writer there is talking about someone whose Christian faith, his love for Jesus, has grown a bit stale. So I want to ask you a straightforward question today. Christian, have you lost your first love? If you have, you know exactly what I mean. The book of Revelation, right at the end of the New Testament, is predominantly all about the end times, but it starts with a number of letters written to many of the leading churches of the day. In chapter 2 of Revelation, there is a letter to the church at Ephesus which contains these words: "I know your works, your labour, your patience, and that you cannot bear those who are evil. You've tested those who say they are apostles and are not. You found them liars. And you have persevered. You have patience. You've laboured for my name's sake, and you've not become weary. Nevertheless, I have this against you. You have left your first love." Those were the words of Jesus to the church at Ephesus. Now let me tell you, that church was a great church. It was founded by St. Paul. It had an amazing impact on the known world. They'd worked hard. They'd persevered. They'd stood strong. Yet Jesus wrote to them and said, life's got in the way. They hadn't stopped doing stuff. They hadn't stopped functioning. They hadn't given up. They just lost their passion. Does that describe you? I know how hard things have been during these last few months, but it doesn't mean that they're always going to be the same. If today you feel like that first passion that you had when you first met Jesus is gone, let me pray for you, because with God, there's always a second chance. Father, I thank you for the love that you have for me. I thank you for the first love that I felt when I first came to a relationship with you. And I pray today, as I've been challenged, that you'll help me to put that right. Help me to recover the joy of knowing that you love me and I know you. Help me to know that I can have passion in everything I do as I seek to serve you. May it always be surrounded by love. Because really, if I don't have love, then I have nothing. So Father, forgive me for drifting away. Bring me back to you now. Help me to rekindle that love, that passion for Jesus and his word. In his name I pray. Amen. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.